Hey guys, so if you're no stranger to the channel, you know that I spend a lot of time up at an auto wrecker, auto recycler close to my house called iPull-uPull. I'll make little videos of what's there. If I'm pulling parts, quite often it's from that location. Anyway, I've gotten to know those guys you know, over the past couple of years, and we're actually going to work together on one now. They're actually going to supply a vehicle that was there for recycling, and we're gonna try and build that thing completely out of the yard. In other words, we're gonna start with a I think it's a 68 or 69 GMC. I guess you'll see when we get there, and we'll try and build everything out of the yard. Now they're also gonna supply us with a drivetrain, so I'm not 100% sure how much we can get out of the yard. You know, there's certain things that we may be better off buying new, but we'll play it by ear. At any rate, we're almost there. I'll come back when we get there. Granted secret access. Let's go take a look. Okay, so locked out. Wonder if we're locked out the other side. Let's have a peek. That's an issue. Okay. So tailgate's hammered, schmammered. Box side looks pretty good, to be honest. A little bit of a dent there to pull out. Rockers and cab corners. Well, that's Chevy trucks for you. Put some cab lights up there like that. Got the two-tone with that. They call that coral or turquoise or something with the white. Got the inline 6. What do you think? 250? I bet it is. So we'll just pop off. There's a bolt under there. We'll pop off, and one under there as well. Pop those guys off. And that'll release the motor from the mount. We have no radiator to worry about. We do have some exhaust there. We'll have to deal with that. Just chop her out of the way. Get rid of all this clutch linkage. These are 3 in the tree linkage. We'll save one of those for our automatic transmission. We'll use that shifter lever. And very minimal wiring here to worry about. We got purple wire down to the starter. It's always closest to the engine block. That's going to be your trigger. This yellow one runs up to the coil. This blue guy here, that's going to be your oil pressure. Come around to this side here. If you can see the color on this, it should be green, I believe. It looks to be black. That's okay. I'll just take that off, and this is that yellow wire that comes off the starter. See where that's going? We'll tie into that guy there up here at the coil. We'll pop all this stuff off too. And then down at the starter, so this has got that bell housing mount. So you got your engine mounts here, and then you got your bell housing mounts there. That means there's going to be no transmission mount to the rear. We'll have to fabricate something up. This is the throttle pedal here. We'll get rid of that. Typically I like to run a square body pedal. Works better anyway. Although if our donor ends up being an LS, if our donor ends up being an LS, we may end up with a drive-by-wire configuration. We'll see. This is the wiring for the alternator, which doesn't exist anymore. This, of course, is your block heater. We have our fuel line probably hacked off. No, it's right here. We'll just chop that off. We're not going to use that. And yeah, so CJ should be here any minute. We'll get going with him once he rolls in here. And we'll get started on this thing. And I'll show you where the drivetrain's coming out of, which is a pretty cool machine too. I don't remember if it's 4.8 or 5.3, but it's an LS motor and transmission. It's coming out of the same vehicle, so we'll get the motor and tranny. All right. Okay, so this is a truck. It's a 69 GMC. We believe it's a 69 GMC anyway, based on this. I haven't been able to actually open the door and take a look at the serial number yet, but I believe it to be a 69 based on that and based on what I see. Body's not too bad. You know, we got this, looks like cow kind of rubbed up against it here. Knocked that out easy enough. Door is unlocked, or sorry, still locked. CJ thinks he can just hop in there and unlock it though. I like that. This front bumper is kind of buggered over here. That's not a big deal though. This should clean up-ish. In here you can see we got an inline 6, I believe it to be a 250. We're going to pull this out of here for our new drivetrain. So we're going to want to knock off these motor mounts, of course. We got some clutch linkage that needs to come off. Our 3-speed transmission linkage will need to come off. That's our throttle bar lever action up there. That'll come off. A little bit of wiring to undo. There's not a lot of wiring on this thing that's left. This would have been our for our temp sensor over here. This yellow wire comes up to the coil, runs down to the starter there. This is the negative side of the coil, runs down to the distributor, to the points. And then we got our blue wire to our oil sending unit, purple wire, it's our trigger for our solenoid, and yellow wire, of course, we already talked about that, to the coil. How are things going out there, Siege?
Oh, well.
So, Siege has one job, and that's unlock the truck. And it's going pretty good. Truck is pretty much unlocked.
Well, there's no window, but...
Ah, there's no window. What's that?
Oh, sorry, the window's rolled down.
The window is rolled down.
But yeah, this is not budging.
But yeah, that's not budging. Okay. How's this box side? It's pretty good. This tailgate is schmammered. That's no good. Words of wisdom?
Cab corners and rockers are the worst part, I think.
Cab corners and rockers are the worst part. I think the inline 6 and the 3-speed's the worst part.
Well, that's easier to deal with.
That's easier to deal with. Okay, so we are not in here yet. Not that we really need to be, I guess, not at this point. But we're going to go ahead and start yanking this motor out, I think.
I could probably crawl in and try to pull up on the other locks.
Sure, I think people would like to see that.
Yeah.
You gonna Bo Duke it?
Bo Duke it? No, I'm too old for that shit.
Luke Duke?
Grandpa.
Uncle Jesse Duke? All right, Uncle Jesse, show us what you got.
Well, I'm going to grab something to stand on first, so...
Oh, well, can probably get on the cab here and climb in this way, maybe?
I was going to grab
Sure.
the thingy over there.
He's gonna grab his thingy. Look at this beauty. Boy, it's rougher than a weekend in Fort Mac. Jeez Louise. Okay, hop it under the hood here. What do we got? It's a 2006 4.8. This is our donor, folks. We're gonna take this motor, trans, everything, and put it in there. And CJ is going to single-handedly do that harness from memory.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens with that.
It won't work, but
There is
I can make a harness from memory.
he can make a harness from. Aren't you gonna need those?
Well, I couldn't get out of my pocket for a second, but let's see if I can. But yeah, I will need them.
Okay, here we go. Uncle Jesse.
What was that?
Uncle Jesse.
Yeah. Probably.
Oh, that actually wasn't so bad. Not in yet, but yeah, it looks like he's got her.
Getting out might be an issue, but one thing.
Yeah, I thought you'll be coming out the door.
I hope so.
Okay. Okay, so in case you're wondering how we got this open, CJ went in there with his bionic foot and he was pushing on it. That didn't work. I got a pry bar and I got in here. That didn't work, and then the combo did. But you can see all the rot down here in the bottom of the door and all this here. I think it was just kind of seized in with that because it felt pretty solid, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Felt like the door was still locked, but it wasn't. In fact, this is working just fine. But we got her open now. I think we'll leave this door open for a few minutes anyway. I think we'll get in here and we'll start yanking this motor. What do you think, Siege?
I think we should get in here and start yanking his motor.
Okay, well, that's what we'll do then.
So you could probably get distracted for a while working on the door, so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Let's roll into it. Okay, so when you're doing a hood, you can take these front two off and the hood's not gonna go anywhere. Just like that. It's not going anywhere. But when you get to these back two, it's a bit of a game changer. At this point, it's good to have a second person hold the hood if you got it. And I do in this case, so why not? If you don't, you can always stuff a moving blanket behind here, just so it doesn't go into the windshield. A prop rod, she'll stay. So, not 100% sure. I think this is a 5/8 under here. It is. So
you got the motor mounts. I should probably try mounts have to be undone.
yep.
And exhaust.
And exhaust, and we got some linkage.
Yeah, the clutch linkage.
Clutch linkage, shifter linkage. All the good stuff. That's what that bolt looks like. It's kind of a beefy one. I think this is like a 7/16 with a 5/8 head. We'll set those aside. I'm gonna do the other side. CJ starts on the transmission. CJ yelling yay. I'll show you guys what he's taking off down there. This generation of trucks was the last generation to do this. So typically you'll have, you know, on the square bodies and up, you'll have a cross member that runs across here, attaches more by the tail shaft. What CJ's doing, he's taking off these two bolts here, and they actually attach to the bell housing. And that's how these motors and transmissions. So the motor mounts mid on those two motor mounts, and then the bell housing mounts here, and there's nothing for the tail shaft. So when you go ahead and you replace it with a newer motor or transmission, typically you get rid of this cross member and you install one out of something else. Or some guys will just take a piece of channel and do that. We got her out?
No, I need a wrench because apparently this is just through and they double nutted it on the top here.
So what size wrench do you need?
I'm gonna guess we'll start with like a 5/8, possibly a 9/16.
Here, have a 9/16. While we're under here, let's have a look. So this is the front floor supports. That's pretty typical. The rears usually are about the same, especially when you see the cab corners that bad. And I can't see them, but you can. The inner rockers, I can imagine seeing the outer rockers, what it looks like. Well, yeah. So that's pretty typical on these old Chevys as well. You got a transmission, right?
True.
So something to think about when you're pulling out a motor and transmission. You want to try and center your chain a little further back than if you're just pulling out the motor. So we were looking at some accessory bolts here, but that doesn't really do us much good. A little further back might be better. Look at that guy there. Well, geez. Maybe even that bolt you took out. What if we put the chain in there?
Oh, on the bell housing.
Yeah. How would you feel about that?
We can give her a try.
I'll lower that down, maybe I'll find a better spot for the camera. This is a pretty typical chain hoist you'll find at the wreckers. CJ will just lower her down, we'll hook her on, and then we'll put her out here for you guys.
Okay, we're moving upwards. Jam done something.
Hold on here. So, I'm not a Red Seal electrician, but I think I should cut that wire. What do you think?
I think I might have mentioned that before, but I could be wrong.
You're wrong. What happens if you cut this? Making noise anyway.
How do I
right?
change it? Make it go down?
Pull.
No, it's not working that way though. It's only going up. So do I have to do this? No, it doesn't go down.
I just got it for some reason. There we go.
Trunk.
Pull it forward a bit.
Okay. If you go up, I'll pull forward. Whoa. Gotta go down first. Drive shaft issues. took
the back of the the tail of the transmission is not formed quite yet, so
let's just go up. What? Nope. Keep going. We gotta clear the starter on the motor mount over here before we can go forward.
yeah, and we gotta clear the exhaust pipe on this side. Something's gonna get me.
Keep going. Alright.
Do we need to, no, we don't, probably don't need to stop that off there.
You guys see that fuel line? Somebody forgot to take it off.
Ron.
Me. You can see here, I'll tell you, we are. You see back there, I'll tell you, we are starting to lose a little bit of tranny fluid.
Yeah, you can see the exhaust pipe.
Hold on here, let's go look at this side.
Exhaust is pretty
So the exhaust is going to clear. We got these guys disconnected, so on and so forth. Transmission line, you got that, ACH? Transmission line, when you were down there, you got the transmission?
Oh, no.
I see. Okay, so transmission line, we'll get that when we get her most of the way out.
Now, okay, now the current problem is you see the back of
Well, I see it.
the lip of the tail
I'm not
shaft.
hard of seeing. All right, so let's get this thing.
Maybe lift it up a little more.
Well, let's see. I'll just kind of give her one a. There we go. We're good.
Forward a bit.
Keep going with it. Forward's the only way. Okay, so where are we at? I'm gonna call her a day. It's kind of warm out today. Yeah, just like not into being outside in the coveralls on a hot day. We got the motor and transmission out. I wanted to lop that off today, but I just don't feel like it. I'll probably be back tomorrow, and I'll get that cut out. And then tomorrow we'll also. Okay, so this is the 4.8. Paul and Mark have decided to help us out with. It's 4.8 and then a 4L60E. We're gonna pull this out as a one piece. Just take them out as one piece and slide it right over. And I'm hoping just kind of slide it in like that. We'll see how she plays out. But yeah, I definitely think we need to remove that cross member.
Oh.
And that'll aid in that as well. So hopefully that's tomorrow. I got my LS swap brackets for the LS, and then we'll go ahead and use those 2 bolts mounted on. You know what we need? We do, however, want to take these mounts, these bolts, these 3 bolts, take this rubber mount off, and we want to put those on our LS. So we'll grab that off real quick, and then we'll call her a day, I think.
Sounds good.
Tune in tomorrow. Jeff's gonna be pretty happy.
Why is that?
Look at that little brown car.